following is an excerpt from tonight's brand new episode of the Geekvolution Radio Hour. Tonight, Steve Baxey fills in for Vince as we talk FF box office numbers and how online criticism is affecting the movie industry. Tune in tonight at 7 Central on the Supervillain Network for that and more, and thanks for listening. Steve, something that we heard Curious Lo say last night when we did our spoiler cast on Geekvolution on our YouTube channel for Fantastic Four, and I've been hearing this from other people too, is my favorite part of Fantastic Four was the Deadpool trailer, which is kind of amusing. So bizarre that Green Lantern has been compared to Fantastic Four quite a bit, in being a thing that had some potential and that ended up just, being kind of a train wreck. And I think it's almost ironic, really, that we've got this slog of a movie that completely falls apart at the seams, that right before you see it, there's a trailer for a movie that looks like it has a very clear vision, is very faithful to its source material, knows just what it wants to be, and, to boot, makes fun of Green Lantern.
And it has the guts to make fun of its own studio. There was a Fantastic Four trailer that premiered a couple days before the movie, and Deadpool showed up at the end of it, or somewhere in the beginning of it, saying, presented from the studio that sewed his mouth shut the first time.
Oh boy, that's exciting. I love that.
It's great. It seems like Fox is supposed to be like two people running the company or something, because everything involved with the X-Men universe is just so much fun and so lively. And Deadpool looks like it's going to be, even if it's not your cup of tea, it looks like it's going to be a bundle of fun. And I don't like Deadpool, but I'm excited because I get to see Deadpool on screen. And I never thought that would happen as well as good as it looks. And then we go over to Fantastic Four, and it's a mixed and muddled thing. And when I was sitting through the theater watching that movie, all I could think of is, I can't wait to see what Deadpool has to say about some of this stuff.
Weirdly, the biggest thing I was most excited by, because I wasn't expecting this, is it looks like they're going to some of the early Deadpool source material. It looks like it isn't going to be just playing with the goofy Deadpool likes to jump around and joke a lot, and he breaks the fourth wall and nothing makes any sense. The kind of early 2000s. There's not even hardly a story to latch onto. Kind of Deadpool. Obviously, he is still gonna never shut up. That's always been Deadpool, you know what I mean? And clearly they're gonna do some commentary about pop culture stuff and superhero movies and things that haven't worked. It's hard to tell how much actual, air quote, fourth wall breaking stuff is actually happening. But I love that they're going all the way back to Joe Kelly stuff. Blind Al's in the trailer, or at least I'm assuming that's who that is. And I surely didn't expect to see her or anything like that. So I wonder if we're going to actually get a gasp, shock, and awe real character arc for Deadpool. I would be so happy if it was kind of like the Joe Kelly stuff, where he's an assassin and he is really twisted and really dark and screwed up, but at the same time, he really wants to be a superhero and really wants to help people and really wants to not be completely selfish and about himself, but he doesn't really understand what that means and how to do that.
One of my favorite things about the early Joe Kelly Deadpool stuff is there's this interesting relationship between Deadpool is an extremely violent, extreme personality, but he kind of wants to try and be a hero, and he kind of does it in spite of himself. And the trailer has some lines about Deadpool initially being a hero and being maybe a superhero. And we don't know how hard that's going to go and how much of a mercenary he's going to be right from the start. But they might actually make it something along the lines of, can Deadpool help what made him, and does he just embrace it or not? And Marvel is re-releasing all the Joe Kelly stuff, and apparently that's going to be a major influence on it, so that's exciting.
I really didn't expect that. That's so cool, and that they're blending that stuff, because the early images we were seeing and that kind of what's like spec footage or whatever it was that we saw made me think, okay, cool, this is right off the page Deadpool, but what's the story going to be like? It's right off the page modern Deadpool, but is there going to be anything to really anchor it? And what I'm excited about, if that ends up being the case, that and I mean, like, in showing some of the Weapon 11 origin and all that stuff, it looks like they really are trying to tell a story. And if that's the case, then it's going to be a lot easier for me to get past the really raunchy, really crude stuff that I just don't care for, because I'll have something else to latch onto.
Yeah, there's clearly some kind of story, some kind of character arc thing going there, and it seems like everyone involved is really passionate about the character. So it's not just, at least as far as we know, it doesn't look like it's going to be nothing but Deadpool going around and goofing around because he's Deadpool. But something legitimately interesting will go on in the background and maybe give us a strong character arc. They're including a lot of other characters, like typical X-Men characters and stuff around it. Like Colossus is going to be in it.
I couldn't believe I saw him on screen. And the big question before this was, is this even really going to be cemented in the same universe? I mean, I love that it is. This might be a really great way to bridge the gap between the early X-Men, or the older X-Men stuff, and this kind of soft reboot.
Yeah, it might. And Deadpool might even mention something about that in the context of the film, of like things are
If he
different
doesn't,
now.
I'll be real surprised. I mean, the fact that there's a Green Lantern reference
Yeah.
makes me really think that that's probably going to happen. It will probably make fun of Origins no fewer than 4 times.
Oh yeah, it's got to. They're in the marketing. They're already talking about how bad Origins was. So the studio's aware of it. The writers are aware of it. The characters aware of it.
I
It's
just
gonna
love how
happen.
self-aware the studio is allowing the project to be about all of that. It's really cool. I mean, that, and what's funny is that makes that movie, Origins, just like a part of the history and the continuity that we needed in order to get here. I think that's really fun. And I mean, obviously, like, it's not respectful to it in the sense that it's got reverence for that material, but fair enough. It just wasn't good. It's almost like we might get a movie that, and I'm not expecting the whole movie to be about this, but that within this fictional world, we might find ourselves addressing the early kind of growing pains era of superheroes that we had to have in order to get something like this. You couldn't have made this movie in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, there is a kind of confidence in it that we sometimes don't see even in really good Marvel films. Because every now and then we get kind of we're adapting the character right off the page, but there has to be a degree of helping the general audience adjust to the nature of the world. Deadpool's not doing that at all. Deadpool is just straight up Deadpool. It's not just for Deadpool fans, but it's making people into Deadpool fans.
Yeah, it's great. Well, and what's really cool, and this is the thing you can do with Deadpool, because Deadpool is a character that somehow or rather everyone has heard of, and no one besides comic book fans knows anything about. I hear this all the time where people are like, okay, this Deadpool guy, I've seen his face everywhere. He shows up in memes. He shows up on T-shirts. I know that he mouths off a lot. That's all I got. I don't know who this guy. People don't know what his powers are. People don't know what his origin is. People don't know if he has a rogues gallery or if he has, any kind of an arch nemesis or anything. No, nobody knows anything about the guy. And what I think is really cool about that is that you don't have to make an accessible Deadpool movie. You just make. I mean, I think retreading the origin a little bit might ultimately be necessary because of the soft reboot thing. But obviously, I will be surprised if that's more than 10 minutes of the whole movie. Uh, but if it's more than that, hopefully it's entertaining and not like Fantastic Four where it's all origin and awful. But I'm just saying that like I feel like they're not making an accessible Deadpool movie. What they're making is a movie that it looks like anyway. Just based on that trailer and what they're saying about it, it looks like what they're doing is they're saying, okay, this is Deadpool. Some of you are gonna like it, and some of you aren't. It's just unabashedly, this is what it is. And then all those people that have heard of Deadpool and know nothing about him will know what he is now, and they'll either like it or they won't. And they're not trying to cater to everyone, and I think that's great. I think it will be more accessible because they're not going out of their way to make it too accessible.
Yeah, exactly. They're letting it be a hard R film. They released a red band trailer for it when they premiered it on television. It got a TVMA rating. They're okay with this being what it is, and they're not worried about bigger audiences are drawn to PG-13 films. They're completely okay with whatever Deadpool needs to be in order to be successful. And it doesn't look like the general audience is bothered by it at all. I haven't heard anyone talk about it looking too violent or it looking not unappealing or anything. Even the people that don't know anything about Deadpool say it's a little bit gory, but it's gory in a hilarious way.
And
It's kind of like you shoot 'em up back a few years ago.
Yeah, and it's being like even with the trailers, it's being fair about what it is. It's not trying to dupe anybody into thinking that it's that it's a more all inclusive kind of thing. It's like this is a really raunchy, vulgar, violent superhero movie. If you like that sort of thing, you're going to like it. It gives you that up front.
Yeah, I think it's doing what Punisher Warzone thought it was doing, in making an absurd action film.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, Steve, they're making me more excited about it than I ever thought I would be. And I like Deadpool a lot more these days than I used to be after reading the Joe Kelly stuff. It's not air quotes my cup of tea, but I get what it is, and I appreciate like it's good. It's just not my thing, but I appreciate it. I like it for what it is. And then I love Cullen Bunn's Deadpool. And like he made. I feel like he's the gap bridger. I feel like Cullen Bunn came in and gave the fourth wall breaking thing a purpose and a point, and that helped mainstream because that's kind of out of continuity stuff, and that helped the mainstream regular like post Marvel Now stuff, or maybe it was a happy accident that they all happened at the same time. But I always thought that maybe that was somewhat of a gap bridger where people went, oh, that's what Deadpool is, and it helped it helped us make that a cool character again that's not just about the jokes. So anyway, I'm just like I'm stoked about the whole thing. I think it's really cool, and I think it might be one more step in the right direction in helping filmmakers and studios to realize that it is possible to take these things right off the page and not mess with them too much.
Yeah, and I think it also helps the people that have a little bit of burnout. This doesn't look like a typical superhero movie. It looks like its own independent thing. It's doing something that very clearly tells you it's not set in a formula, and if it is, it's making fun of the formula. So it might even help the people that don't want to watch another superhero comic book thing.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I also think that Deadpool doesn't have to uh, have giant numbers.
Yeah. It's probably going to do sizably well, but it looks like with the way it's being made and with the budget and stuff, it's not going to need something massive.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to appeal to the people it's going to appeal to, and it will probably be really successful and really make its money back. But I mean, like, I'm expecting kind of Ant-Man numbers for it.
I'm thinking a little bit more than Ant-Man. I think it'll probably.
But being a rated R, darker kind of thing, you think it'll do better than Ant-Man?
I think so. I think it'll do better than Ant-Man. Obviously, I don't think it will do anything like Avengers or Captain America in like the 190 millions, but I think it'll do at least 60, 70.
And you think that's just because of the marketing campaign is already genius.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, there's that. He was dressed as a hitchhiker, saying "Comic-Con, por favor" when that came out. There's the stuff on Conan where they did a whole skit with Ryan Reynolds in costume. Everyone knows what this is. They're marketing it. It's like a year out, and it's already got like this presence all over the place that films like Avengers and Batman vs Superman are building really slowly.
Yeah.